We are starting a new chapter called as control statements. Control statements is a part of every modern programming language. So if you know how it works in one programming language, you can use that knowledge in any other programming language to write programs. So first let's try to understand what is control statements, what is the need for control statements, and how does C++ allow you or provide different kinds of control statements. The first question we'll try to answer is, why do you require control statements? In real life, if all the statements were simply one after other and we did not have to take decisions, life would really be easy. But unfortunately, in real life, we need to take decisions. For example, I may insist that if a person is more than 70 years, he gets 1% extra interest in a bank. Everybody else gets the normal interest. So, for that, I will have to take a decision or do some checking and then execute a group of statements. This is how it will look. Let us say if somebody's age is greater than 70, I will do all the coding to give him or her 1 extra percent of interest. For everybody else, it will be the normal rate of interest. So here I am going to have a check of a condition or a if statement asking if age greater than 70, I am going to do certain processing, else I am going to give the normal rate of interest for everybody else. Then the second type of statement you require is you need to execute the same set of instructions again and again as long as a condition remains true. Say for example, I want to calculate the salary of 50,000 employees of working in Indian Railways. So what I will do is I will read employee number 1, do the calculation, print his payslip, go to the next employee, do the calculation, print his or her payslip, continue this process till I have read all the 50,000 employees and processed it. So here I need to do the same kind of processing on each and every employee, starting from the first employee till the 50,000th employee. So if you see, this looping is used to do the things again and again. This kind of a statement, if else, these alter or change the flow of execution. If this is true, this will execute. If it is false, this will execute. So control structures like if, else and all alter the flow of the program. Based on the condition being true or false, a particular set of statements are executed. So now I have made a case why you need looping and why you need control structures or control statements. The word control structures and control statements may be used interchangeably. They really mean the same. Now, before we proceed to control statements, let us take a look at a concept called as simple versus compound statement. A statement or an instruction in any programming language may consist of either reading something, displaying something, or doing certain calculations. Calculations is done usually using the assignment statement. So if I have just one statement, this is an example of a simple statement. Sum is a plus b. Now it is so possible that I want to do a number of instructions if a particular condition is true. So if I enclose it in flower bracket like this, okay, I can have 0 or more statements in this flower bracket. So even 0 statement, 1 statement, 2 or 100 statement enclosed within a flower bracket is known as a compound statement. So compound statement you can think of as 0 or more statements executed when they are enclosed in a flower bracket. So when I come in the flower bracket, all 3 must and will be executed. It is not just one will be executed. So this is an example of compound. This is an example of simple. So a set of statements separated by semicolon. This is known as a block. Okay, this complete thing in flower braces is known as a block and it is enclosed in flower braces. Now, C supports two types of control statements. The first is selection statements. Example of selection statements are if else, if, else if, else if, else. switch case, and so on. And iteration is while loop, for loop, and do while loop. So example of selection statements I have already told you above. It is if else, if after another if, or a one condition after the next is known as nested if, and then you have the switch statement. So if this if statement executes, it may execute either a simple statement like this, or it may execute a compound statement based on checking certain condition. So there are different kinds of selection statements in C++. Now, before we proceed, let us try to first understand the very basic or the simple conditional statement or the control statement, the if statement. All right, so first let's try to understand what is a if statement. Now, before going here, let us say I come in here. I ask the user to enter a number. He or she enters a number. If the number happens to be 100, I am printing the message number is 100, and the cursor is going to the next line. Now, whether the number is 100 or not, this message if concept will always be executed. So if the number is 100, you will see number is 100 followed by if concept. If the number is not 100, it will only print if concept. So only this statement is associated with this particular if condition. So the if statement is known as one-way branching because it just gives one direction of execution. It can contain one statement, which is a simple statement, or it can contain a compound statement or a block of statements. If this condition evaluates to true, the value of this will be non-zero. So if it is zero, then it is false. So if it is non-zero, this is true, and this condition will get executed. Now let's take a look at the general syntax or the structure or the model of the if statement. The word syntax, general structure, and model all really mean the same for your level. So if condition here is I'm checking number equal to 100. In our case, statement 1 example is cout 100. Statement 2 is if concept. So if this condition is true, only statement 1 will be executed. Whether this condition is true or false, statement 2 will always be executed. Now, if statement can also be shown like that. If this condition is true, here it is executing a simple statement. Here it is executing a compound or a block of statements. So compound statement can have 0 or more instructions like this. So this hopefully gives you an idea about the introduction to control structures, a little bit about iteration, a little bit about decision making, and the syntax of if statement. In the next session, I'll talk about doing one or two programs using the if statement and how do we go about solving problems.